Welcome to those of you who are watching this video on demand, and welcome to those of you who will be joining me live here. I will be getting started in just a minute. Let me begin by saying thank you for watching and welcome back for another episode of Maddie's Rap Live with award-winning author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. We will be getting started in just a few moments. Got an exciting program for you guys tonight. So thank you for joining. Again, if you're watching this video on demand, thank you. And to those of you that will be joining me live, thank you as well. All right. We're going to go ahead and start this thing off in just a minute with just a little bit of music. So give me just a moment. Hopefully you guys had for those of you that celebrate the holidays, hopefully you guys had a nice holiday with your families. Everybody is safe and everybody ate well. What's up, Torah girl? What's up? Nice to see you. Shalom, shalom. I'm going to be getting started in just a moment. It's a couple more minutes. I'm pulling up you know how I like to do it on these lives. I like to start with a little musical selection. And with the tonight we're going to be talking about a little bit of astrology and how to apply it in our lives. But the other thing that's going on right now, in addition to this Mercury retrograde, is we've got a full moon in the sign of Cancer. So full moons in Cancer are always pretty much nice full moons because Cancer is the moon is ruled by or Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the moon is nice and comfy when it's in the sign of Cancer, and we know that full moons are about releases. So I think that this selection that I have here that I'm going to kick this live off with is perfect. It's perfect for doing a release. All right, you'll probably know this song, but I'm gonna sing a little bit of it here. Here we go. Hopefully y'all can hear that, and hopefully the YouTube copyright police stay at bay because this is coming through my phone, and hopefully it's not too loud. And hopefully I sound like a radio DJ over it. Sometimes if you're talking over it, then they're like, okay, this isn't a person playing a track or whatever. But I mean, you know, we're just doing it for media purposes only. Here we go. All about release, full moon in Cancer. Looking back over my years, I guess I shed some tears. I told myself time and time again, this time I'm gonna win. But another fight, things ain't right, I'm losing again. It takes a fool to lose twice, start all over again. Think I better let it go. Hey, it looks like another love TKO. Lincoln music right here. You drive a Lincoln or a Cadillac, this is what you want bumping in it. Old school. Here we go. I'm going to do more and more verse and we're going to get started. Looks like another love TKO. Try to take control of the love, but love took control of me. Cause you lose all thoughts, sense of time, and have a change of mind. Taking the bumps and the bruises and all the things of a two-time loser. See, I try to hold on, faith is gone. It's just another sad song. I think I better let it go. What you said now? Another love TKO. What y'all know about another love TKO? Come on, y'all. I think I better let it go. All right, y'all. I think I better let this song go. Before I start feeling it too much, because this is a good one. All right, here we go. A little Teddy Pendergrass for y'all. All right, here we go. All right, y'all. I was supposed to actually take that down, and I accidentally hit that button. And there's Apple again with that button in the wrong place. Apple, if y'all watching this, y'all need to move that button, okay? Y'all need to move that button from here. See right here, Apple, you got this little power button over here. Move that button from here back up to the top because I can't be the only one having a problem hitting that button. All right, so here we go. We got two people in the room, and two is enough. Two is plenty. One's plenty, y'all, because somebody's going to watch this video on demand. So thank you to those of you who are watching this video live with me tonight. Today's date is Tuesday, December 26th, 2023. And we got a few days left in the Gregorian calendar year for 2023, y'all. So we have Mercury in retrograde now, and that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about why we should stop being afraid of Mercury in retrograde and instead why we should learn to harness the energy to promote healing. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this like I did the last time. I got some offline comments from people. What's up in Coco too? Glad to have you here, brother. Glad to have you here. I've had some comments from people that told me that they really liked the last format where I had the slides up. So I decided I'm going to do that again. I am going to go ahead without further ado and open that up for you guys. All right. I'm going to bring the agenda up here if I have it open. Okay, there we go. All right. Let me switch this over. Tonight, we are talking about harnessing the energy of planetary retrogrades. And let me give you the flow. Let me switch slides here. Let me take myself off and okay, so apparently I can't take myself out of there without losing audio too. So I'm still playing around with this. Maybe I'll do it like this. There we go. I can rock with that. All right. What if I do that? Oh, I like that too. That's even better. That's perfect. Okay, y'all. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can't take this into full screen mode and see what it does. All right. So we're talking about harnessing the energy of planetary retrogrades. Tonight's agenda, we're going to go over what retrogrades are, and I'm going to give you the definition of that, the dictionary definition, as well as discussing what it means energetically. Okay, so what's a planetary retrograde from an energetic standpoint? Then we're gonna, y'all know what I do. I got to bring that scripture up. I have to keep driving this bus that says the Bible and the scriptures from which it was derived are spiritual and not religious. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some scriptures and show you how the Bible defines planets and how they affect our lives in accordance with the scripture. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about what is the energy of each planet. All right, and that's just a back overlay. Okay, I know we're talking about Mercury retrograde tonight, but that's going to be a back overlay. Okay, just going to give you the backdrop. So we're going to talk about what the energy of each planet is. I don't even like to call them planets because this could turn into an argument. Let me bring my face back up on the screen here, y'all. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 minute here. I'm gonna keep the agenda on the screen so y'all can see it. Okay, but where was I? All right. This. No, that's not what I want. I want this. No, that's not what I want. See what happens when you move off of what you had there. There we go. Okay. So this may rub some people the wrong way, y'all, but I know what they taught us in school. And as the age of information continues to come forward, and as we continue to progress into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of knowing, and exiting the age of Pisces, which is the age of believing, we begin to see in full illustration that a lot of what we were taught in school was wrong. And I believe intentionally so. So with that said, I'm going to say, what is the energy of each planet and what are they responsible for? What do they govern? But I also want you guys to know that I call the planets energy. All right. I don't call them planets. I like to call them energies, even though we know them as planets, but they're not something you can land on. And that's this whole thing that they taught us in school. Oh, they landed a rover on Mars and all of this stuff. And yet when Elon Musk tried to put his he built this SpaceX space station that he wanted to launch into space, we saw it hit the firmament. If y'all haven't seen that video, just go look it up. You can look it up on, somebody may have it here on YouTube. Some people may have it on TikTok, but you can look up and see what happened when he tried to launch that last rocket and you saw what happened. Okay. There's a firmament there. Okay. But both can't be true. You can't have an infinite outer space that you can access. And we got rovers that were, or Ranger One or whatever they call these ships back in the 1970s that launched and they're still floating around in deep space somewhere, and then have a firmament too. Okay. Unless there's a door that they know how to get out of. All right. That's just Matt. Y'all believe what you want. Okay. We're exiting the age of believing and entering the age of knowing. Now, so let me bring this back here full screen now. Let me go back to what I was talking about here. Okay. Next, what are retrogrades? And okay, I did that already. Hang on a second. I'm trying to look at this small print when I should be over here, y'all. Y'all bear with me. It's been a long day. It's been a nice little weekend, long weekend, but we back at work here. Okay. So bullet point number 4, what are the 12 astrological houses and what facets of life do they govern? Y'all are going to really see what I mean here when I read the scripture. It's all going to make sense. I promise you that. Okay. Number 5, how to tell which area of your life will be most impacted by this Mercury retrograde. Okay. I'm not going to get into the other planetary retrogrades like Venus, Mars, and all that. I'm going to stay focused on Mercury because that's pretty much what we're in right now, at least until January the 1st. And then how to apply the energy of the retrograde to promote healing. And to do that, I'm going to give you guys a story because I know you guys love story time. Okay. And then I'll wrap up with any questions or comments that you all might have. All right. So without further ado, I don't see anything in the chat there. So we're going to get started. Again, thank you to those of you who are watching this live. And thank you to those of you that are watching this on demand. All right. What are retrogrades? Let's bring up what that definition is. And then I'm going to talk about it energetically speaking. Okay. Let's take this off the screen. And let's bring up the dictionary. Okay. Retrograde, directed or moving backwards. Okay. That's it in a nutshell. When you're talking about astronomy and astrology, you guys can jump down there to the 5th bullet point. It says right here, of the apparent motion of a planet in a reverse direction from normal, from east to west, resulting from the relative orbital progress of the Earth and the planet. Okay, opposite of a prograde. So a prograde is when the planet's going in its normal motion. Retrograde is when it appears to be moving backwards in the sky. All right, now let me take that off the screen. Now, when you're talking about energetically speaking, you may hear a handful of people that read astrology, people that study astrology, people that do natal chart readings, that sort of thing, people that follow astrological transits or planetary transits and stellar transits and that sort of thing. I don't get that deep into it, y'all. Although a retrograde is a transit, technically speaking, I like to talk about how it affects us because I'm more into the natal chart astrology. Why? Because we need to know ourselves. So when you're talking about a retrograde from an energetic standpoint, retrogrades are course corrections. That is the simplest way that I can explain it. A retrograde is a course correction. If you look at the movement of the planets or energies or wandering stars, as some people call them, one of the things that happens with these is, let's say you got 2 planets that are going in. I'm trying to get my hand close enough to the screen so y'all can see it. Let's say you got 2. There's my camera. Sorry. Let's say you got 2 planets that are going here like this, or you got one a little bit higher. They're moving, they're moving, they're moving, they're moving, they're moving. But this one starts getting a little bit ahead or something like that. And what happens is like a snapback. It's got to go back. That's weird doing it on the camera, y'all. It's got to go back so that it can get back in its proper alignment, and then it starts to move forward again. That is by design. That is the way that the creator created this system. Okay. So from an astronomical or astrological dictionary definition, retrogrades are reverse motion. Why do they go reverse? Because they are a course correction. So I like to call them energetic course corrections. And for you to understand what I mean by energetic course correction, we're going to move to the next bullet point. Okay. How does the Bible define, or the next couple of bullet points? All right. How does the Bible define planets and how do they affect our lives? And I have a note here for myself. I'm going to reference 2 passages of scripture. One comes from Jeremiah chapter 1, the other from Jeremiah chapter 31. Okay. And then I'm going to define the keywords from those 2 passages of scripture. So let's stop sharing the slides and go there now. And if y'all got a question, of course, drop it in the chat because y'all already know I love to answer questions. So, all right, let's do this. We are going to bring up, where's my Bible app? Do I have it open? I do. All right. Okay, so I still got it on the last thing I covered here. We're going to go to Jeremiah And y'all can't see. It's so funny. It always looks like when I go back and watch this replay, it always looks like I have a mouse moving in the middle of nowhere, but there's actually a menu that's dropping down that you guys can't see. I don't know why it doesn't show it on the screen. But anyway, here we go. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Okay. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Ordained. I want y'all to remember that word, okay? Because I'm going to come back to it. Now, let's talk about that same word as it applies to the planets or the wandering stars or the nighttime energies in the sky, okay? Jeremiah 31 and 35. All right. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. We know that's not his name, but I don't even feel like beating that drum tonight, y'all. Verse 36. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay, ordinances. So, an ordinance is what the scripture refers to when it is talking about a planet. Let me go back there again. Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night. So, the scripture refers to these as ordinances. Now, in astrology, they call them planets. In a natal chart, the sun is considered a planet, the moon is considered a planet, and then the stars are considered planets. We don't see the word planet in that passage of scripture. Let's go there one more time. Don't see planet there anywhere. It says ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night. Okay. Now, let's define those words. Let's go back. No. Let me check my notes. Let me stay on course here because I don't want to have to do a retrograde. Okay, so let me stay on course. Now, let me see. Hang on a minute. Alrighty. Okay. All right. So let me go back to my agenda. That's not what I want. Okay. How does the Bible define planets and how do they affect our lives? The Bible defines them as ordinances. I just read those two passages of scripture for you. But what I need to do is I need to define them, okay? Because my notes here say that I should define, ordain, ordinance, and regulation so that you guys understand what's happening here because this is going to set you up for what's coming next, okay? Let me get that off the screen and let's bring up the dictionary again. How y'all doing out there tonight, by the way? So glad y'all are here. So happy to have y'all here. I can always do an on-demand video, but it is so much fun having you guys' energy here, present and live. So thank you to those of you who are here. Now, let me bring up the word ordinance. Ordinance, an authoritative order or a decree. All right. A piece of legislation enacted by a municipal authority. I don't like this dictionary, y'all. I wish I had my other one here. Let me go to, is that the online Farlex? Let me take this off the screen for a second. Because the one I have in my tablet goes a little bit more in depth. That's pretty basic. I caught myself, I muted it this time. And y'all, I just no shade to this other YouTuber I was watching today, but I'm like, did she just finish eating? Like she was burping every 2 seconds. I'm like, come on now, come on, help us out, help us out. All right, go take a digestive enzyme, something. Anyway, so I try to spare y'all. All right. Anyway, let me bring that up. Let me bring that up. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's see. For Alex dictionary. Okay, this is the one I want right here. All right, let's go. Ordinance. Okay, ordinance. The first definition is an authoritative command or order. Let's jump down to definition number 4. Hopefully y'all can see that on the screen there. If I need to make it bigger, I probably should because it looks small here for some reason. Let's go there. All right. An ordinance we're going to deal with definition number 1 and number 4. Number 1 is an authoritative command or order. Okay. Number 4 is a statute or regulation, especially one enacted by a municipal government. Okay. Let me leave that up on the screen for just a moment. All right. Ordinance. Okay. What is the root word of ordinance? Ordain. We read that in verse 1 of Jeremiah. I'm sorry, verse 5 of Jeremiah chapter 1. Ordain. All right. Number 2 is the one I think that applies most here. Ordain is to order or decree by virtue of a superior authority. Okay. So an ordinance is something that is created or ordained. What is ordained? To order or decree by virtue of a superior authority. And that is why I read Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Let me bring it back up. Jeremiah 1 and 5. Oops, I don't want to do it that way. Let's skip. Okay. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. All right. So what did he do when he ordained him a prophet to the nations? He ordered or decreed. It was an order or decree by virtue of a superior authority. Okay. Let's go back to ordination or ordinance. A statute or regulation, especially one enacted by a municipal government or a galactic government or an eternal government. All right, let's look up regulation, y'all. This is the last definition, and we're going to move forward. We know that an ordinance is a regulation. Let's look up the word regulation. All right. A principle, rule. This is the definition number 2. A principle, rule, or law designed to control or govern conduct. I'm going to read that one more time. A regulation is a principle, rule, or law designed to control or govern conduct. Okay. An ordinance is another name for a regulation. So when we take that back and apply it back to the verse, let's do this one more time, one more again. Y'all, you know what? I did this again, y'all. I got to get better about that, y'all. Hold up. Because y'all couldn't even see it. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. My bad, family. Here, let me fix that. Let me fix that. All right. There we go. Regulation. Number 2, a principle, rule, or law designed to control or govern conduct. All right. I just wanted to make sure that y'all can see that. All right, here we go. Here we go. What's up, Lucky Garen 13? And what's up, ER? Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here. All right. Let me remove that. All right. So now when we go back to the scripture, Jeremiah 31. We putting these punches together, y'all. We putting these punches together. You want to knock your opponent out, you got to put your punches together. Don't go in there just showing that you want to knock them out. You got to set them up with a jab, all right? Set him up with a jab, throw a couple of feints, some shoulder rolls. Let him know that you in there for 12 rounds. And when he let his guard down, boom, he didn't even see it coming. All right, here we go. Verse 35. Let me put it back up on the screen because I get happy, y'all, and then I forget that I ain't even got it on the screen for y'all to see it. All right, here we go. Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night. The moon and the stars, the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night. What's another name for ordinance? A regulation. Okay. And I just read to you the dictionary definition of regulation, which is a principle, rule, or law designed to control or govern conduct. Now, I think we can move forward from there. Stop sharing. Let's go back to the agenda. We're going to learn something tonight, y'all. All right, so how does the Bible define planets? Ordinances. What are ordinances? What are ordinances? They are regulations, okay? How does the Bible define planets and how do they affect our lives? We're going to talk about how they affect our lives by looking at what is the energy of each planet, what are they responsible for, and what do they govern, all right? I'm going to stop sharing. And this one, I'm just going to talk about it because if I go and bring all of these articles up on screen, we're going to be here all night. So y'all can look this stuff up on your own, take notes, as my homegirl Anya, who's not here tonight, but she could be jumping on later. I don't know. Always says she watches these videos with a pen and a notepad. All right. So y'all take some notes. We're going to go through the planets that show up in your natal chart. Your natal chart, what is that? It is a rundown of the planets and the houses based on, where they were located in the sky at the time that you were born. And when you're talking on the date that you were born, I should say. And as far as the planets go with the date, all right, the houses go with the time and the location. So I'm getting ready to get into that right now, but we're going to deal with these planet or these ordinances first, okay? Now, Mercury. Mercury is the first. Let me make sure I'm staying on my notes here, y'all. Let me make sure I'm staying with my notes. Each planetary ordinance governs over, okay? I gave you the Jeremiah references. Let me make sure I'm still on point with Keynote. Okay, so we're on the planets. All right, now, Mercury. I just told you we're in a Mercury retrograde, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. Mercury is the ordinance that governs communication. All right? She said, planet orange, purple ring. Not sure what that means. Anyway, Mercury is the ordinance that governs communication. It is the ordinance that governs communication. All right. Mercury is also the planet. I did this in another video, y'all, to give you the hierarchy. I talked about the houses. I'm going to skip around a little bit. The houses are the things that are closest to us. Think about it. You live in a house. You leave your house and you come back to your house on a daily basis in life. So the houses are the things that are closest to us. The next thing up is the constellations, and then you got the planets. Okay. The houses are ruled by constellations. The constellations are ruled by the planets, aka the ordinances. And the constellations themselves are kind of ordinances. Well, no, the constellations are energy. So the houses are areas of life. The constellations are energies, and the planets are energies that govern, or those are the ordinances as listed in the scripture. So the houses are the closest things to us, and they are governed by constellations. Not constellations. Well, I should say signs. Constellations, signs, kind of the same thing. The houses are governed by signs, all right? The signs are governed and ruled by planets, and those ordinances come from the Most High. We just saw that in Jeremiah 31 and 35, okay? So now, Mercury. Mercury is the ordinance that rules over communication. It also rules over thought. It's the way you think. It is the way that you speak, okay? So whatever sign you have Mercury in when you're born, that dictates the style. That is the energy presented when you speak and how you think, okay? Next, you have Venus. Venus is, everybody knows Venus is the planet of love, okay? Venus governs over love. It's like your love language. It's how you present yourself in love. It's also how you present yourself in partnerships. It could be a partnership between, it could be a business partnership. That's more houses. I'll get into that later. Venus is the planet of love, partnership, all things beautiful, all of that good stuff right there. That's Venus. It is feminine energy, by the way, as well. Mars is your action style. It is how you act. It is how you behave when you need to show force. Mars is the energy that rules over aggression and war. It is the ordinance that governs aggression and war. So it is the ordinance that governs your action style, your aggression style. It also governs over your masculine energy. So if Venus is love, Mars is sexual relations. Let me just say that. Hopefully no kids watching, all right? I know YouTube gets funny about that word. It is what it is. So that's your Mars sign. Whatever that sign is, that is the energy presented, but Mars governs over that. So that's your Mars placement. Next is Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet, if you will, or the biggest energy in the nighttime sky. It is the energy of expansion. It is the energy of abundance. That's your Jupiter sign. It governs over expansion. It governs over abundance. Okay. Those are just a couple things. I'm not going to give a deep dive on astrology. Just give me the high points. The next sign or the next planetary energy or ordinance is Saturn. Mercury's in my 7th house. So what does that mean? I'll have to come back to that. I want to keep moving. I'm gonna get to the houses. Okay. So let me, because that's a great question. I'm gonna come back to that. All right. Great question, Lucky. Saturn. Saturn is the energy that governs over restriction. It is the energy that governs over order. It is the energy that governs time. It is also the energy that governs karma. Okay. What it is the teacher. Some call it the teacher. What lessons did you come here to learn? That is going to be the energy of Saturn. Okay. That is the area that is governed by that ordinance. Okay. Restriction, time, karma, lessons. Okay. That's Saturn. Next is Uranus. Okay. Some people say Uranus because Uranus sounds funny. I'm like, I grew up in school, it was called Uranus, and everybody got anus. All right. So Uranus, not Uranus. Uranus. All right. Sorry. Resist. Anyway, Uranus is the energy that governs over rebellion. It is the ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius is the humanitarian. It is the rebel. So this is the energy that says how you rebel against things that do not work. That is you don't rebel just to rebel. Uranus doesn't rebel just to rebel. Aquarius doesn't rebel for the sake of rebelling. It rebels for humanitarian reasons. This is Uranus is the humanitarian. It's the rebel for humanity. It's the rebel with a cause. Okay. When you think of Uranus, think rebel with a cause. So Uranus is the ordinance that governs how you go about rebelling against things that do not work. Okay. And then you have Neptune. Neptune is the energy that governs over the subconscious, the psyche, and dreams. Some say illusions as well. I talked about that in another video. But Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Pisces, we know, is a highly psychic sign. A lot of people who are Pisces, they can darn near read your mind, like literally. Neptune, the energy that governs over dreams, over what are your hopes and dreams? That is Neptunian energy. Okay. And then your sign, you look for your sign, and that'll give you the energy that you present with that ordinance. Okay. Then you have Pluto. Pluto is the energy that governs destruction and regeneration. Destruction and regeneration. So your Pluto sign is Pluto is the energy that governs over, or the ordinance that governs over destruction and regeneration. We got Pluto in Capricorn right now. It's about to station back direct in the sign of Aquarius. We know what happened the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. We had 3 major world revolutions. I talked about that in another video. You had the Haitian Revolution, the French Revolution, and the American Revolution. Pluto is the destroyer, okay? It is the destroyer. We'll talk about that later. It doesn't destroy for the sake of destroying. It only destroys things that do not work. But then it replaces it with something else, okay? Did I talk about, let me go back and talk about those ordinances and tell you which signs they rule over, so you guys know that too. Just this isn't intended to be a deep dive, but I want you guys to have a general understanding. And then I'm going to get into this Mercury retrograde and end this live. Okay. So Mercury, I talked about that, is communication. Mercury rules over the signs of Gemini and Virgo. Okay. So Mercury is the native ruler of the signs of Gemini and Virgo. And because it rules over Gemini and Virgo, Gemini being the ruler of the 3rd house and Virgo being the ruler of the 6th house, the underlying planetary or ordinance that governs the 3rd house and the 6th house is Mercury. Okay. So I'll get into, I won't go too deep in that, because those houses aren't all about communication. 3rd house is, the 6th house isn't, but Mercury is the ruler, the planetary ruler for the signs of Virgo and Gemini. Next is Venus. Venus is the planetary or the ordinance ruler that governs over the signs of Taurus and Libra. Okay, Venus is the planet of love, planet of beauty. This is why most people that you know that are Tauruses or Libras, or if they're Taurus rising or Libra rising, they tend to have nice looks. Okay, they tend to have something about them that is nice looking or whatever. Okay, Venus is planet of beauty. Okay, they tend to be loving individuals as well. Next planet. Oh, you know what, y'all? Let me back up. I left out the sun and the moon. Those are like the two biggest ones. The sun is the ruler of our, it's like our soul essence. Your soul core essence is the sun. The sun is the ruler of the third chakra. It is also the ruler, the third chakra is called your solar plexus. Okay. That's for a reason. Hey, Hotshot, how you doing? How you doing, Hotshot? Get your little Teddy Pendergrass there at the beginning. You're gonna have to go back and watch the replay, okay? Anyway, the sun, y'all, again, pardon me because I left those out. Those are like the two biggest ones. The sun is the governor of your soul core essence. Okay, so whatever your sun sign is, that is your core soul essence. It is where you shine the brightest because the sun is the brightest object in the sky, day in the daytime sky. We don't see the sun at night, of course, but the sun is by far the greatest, brightest object in the sky. The sun is the ruler over your core soul essence. So this is why most people that don't know a whole lot about astrology can tell you what their sun sign is, and you see those characteristics. And for all of those people who don't believe in astrology or say it's somehow evil, I always ask them the question, why is it that people who are born under the same sun sign illustrate the same basic characteristics? I'm a Capricorn, okay? Shout out to all the Capricorns. It's Capricorn season. Anybody who knows a Capricorn knows that Capricorns are hardworking. They're hardworking. They're always working. They go harder than anybody. They don't give up. They don't quit. Anybody I noticed a Capricorn has that characteristic, okay? And then there's high vibrational and low vibrational with each sign. But anyway, that's your sun. The sun is the ruler over your core soul essence. That is who you are at the core, okay? And then the moon. The moon is the ruler of the emotions and the emotions. So it's like the ruler of the heart. Your heart chakra is ruled by the moon. It is the governor of your emotions. So how you experience emotion is governed by the moon. So the moon is an ordinance, as was listed in Jeremiah 31 and 35. The moon is another ordinance. Ordinances are regulations. Regulations govern. Okay. So the ordinance of the moon governs the heart. It governs the way you express emotion. Okay. It works. It kind of works in conjunction with your Venus sign. Venus is more specific to love itself. The moon is your overall heart, the way you express emotion. Okay. So it could be love, it could be sadness, it could be anger, all of that. That's your moon sign. Okay. Now, so those two I left out. Now let me get back to the planets. I talked about the sun is the ruler of the fifth house. For those of you who don't know, what's up, Allie? I played a little little Lincoln music for you in the beginning. Okay. So go back and watch the replay. The sun rules over the fifth house, and no, I was talking about the signs, y'all. The sun, I'll come back to the houses. Sorry, I'm skipping around. The sun is the ruler of which constellation is it is sign. Sun rules over Leo. Okay. The sun rules Leo, the sign of Leo. The moon rules the sign of Cancer. Okay. And then to recap, the Mercury rules the signs of Virgo and Gemini. Venus rules the signs of Taurus and Libra. Mars rules the signs of Aries and Scorpio. Okay. Mars rules the signs of Aries and Scorpio. Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. Okay. Saturn rules the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. So some signs have two planetary rulers. Some signs have two planetary rulers, and some signs share a planetary ruler. Okay. Virgo and Gemini share Mars. Libra and Taurus share Venus. Mars rules two signs. It rules Aries and Scorpio. Okay. Jupiter solo rules Sagittarius. Okay. And then you get to Saturn. Saturn rules over or governs over Capricorn and Aquarius. When you get to Uranus, that's all Aquarius. So Aquarius has two planetary rulers. When you get to Neptune, Neptune rules over the sign of Pisces. And when you get to Pluto, Pluto rules over the sign of Scorpio. This is that's just some general knowledge. Now, let me jump down to the houses really quick because I had a question about the houses, and hopefully this will answer that question. All right. Houses, where's my chart here? Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. Okay. So my next bullet point. Let me go there. Let me share this with you guys. And I promise you, I'm going to come back and answer that question. There we go. All right. Too many windows open. So we're now on bullet point number 4. What are the 12 astrological houses and what facets of life do they govern? I talked about the planetary energies or the ordinances, as the scripture calls them. And I talked about what they're responsible for. What do they govern? We talked about the planets already. You guys can go back and watch the replay, or hopefully you're taking notes. Now we're on the 12 astrological houses and what facets of life they govern. All right. House number 1, and this is going to be quick. And these lists are pretty long. I'm not going to go over every single area that they govern. I'm going to hit the ones that are important to me. Every person that studies astrology, or any person that does astrological natal chart readings or whatever, all astrologers have a different area that is important to them that they focus on. Some people are general, but others like to go general. Others like to go that more specific to them and what they like. So I'm going to go option B here. All right. So I'm not going to go through all of them because that would take too long. The first house is also called your rising sign. It's also called your ascendant. Okay. The first house is the house of I am. It is I present. This is who I am. This is how I present to the world. This is how the world sees me. The first house governs over what? The self. The first house is ruled by Aries, and it governs over the self. How you look, how you appear to people, how you behave. And in some cases, some astrologers will tell you that your rising sign is just as important as your sun sign. And people tend to know you by your rising sign energy as much as they do your sun sign energy. For example, I'm a Libra rising. People who first meet me, they see the Libra side. They think I'm extroverted, till they get to know me and find out that I'm actually more introverted, because I've got 2 introverted signs in the sun and the moon, and that's Capricorn and Cancer. Okay. So, but your rising sign is your first house. That is how you present yourself to the world. It is ruled by Aries. Okay. It governs over the self. The second house governs over material possessions. Okay. Some people say money, but it's not just about money. It's about material possessions. It is also about things that you value, things that are important to you, things that you like. Okay. There's a passage of scripture that can also be considered astrological. It goes something to the effect of, wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Well, the second house is where your treasure is. So if you want to know what you treasure most, look at your second house sign, and that will tell you the type of energy that you treasure most. But it also says a lot about the energy that is used for you to gain material possessions, money, that sort of thing. That's house number 2. Okay. So there's a reason why I'm going through these houses, y'all, because this Mercury retrograde, when we get to the part about how you use the retrograde energy to enhance your life, it'll make sense to you, because everybody's got Mercury in a different house. Okay. So that's that. And that's where I'm going to come back to your question about the 7th house, Lucky Garen. So second house is material possessions, things you value, things you love. That stuff goes in the second house. Tangible things are in the second house. Okay. That is ruled by Taurus. Okay. This is why you notice a lot of people who have major Taurus placements, they love nice things. They love nice things. That's that Taurus energy. Third house is the house of communication. It is how you speak. It is how you think. It is ruled, of course, by the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. I gave you guys the planetary rulers for the houses. I'm pretty sure I did that. If not, I'll go back and recap that at the end. But you know what? I can do it as I go along. The first house is ruled by Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So you know the planetary ruler of the first house. Now, it could show up different in your chart. For example, with my first house being in Libra, that means my planetary ruler of the first house is Venus. But the static ruler of the first house is Mars, because it is the first house is ruled by Aries. Hopefully, I'm not losing anybody. I'm trying to stay away from doing a deep dive, but it's difficult because I'm naturally a teacher, so it's difficult to stay away from that. But I could get into how these energies, are they harmonious or do they conflict, and that says a lot about the personality. But I'm not going to get into that because I want to keep this about the retrograde. So anyway, first house is ruled by Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Okay, it is who you are, how you present to the world. It is your I am statement, I present, I appear statement. Second house is ruled by Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. Okay, and it is the house of material possessions. Some people call it wealth. It is the house of things we value. I could do a separate video on where the treasure is. There will your heart be also. Your second house is things that you treasure. Okay, now your third house, the house of communication, it is ruled by the sign of Gemini, and Gemini is ruled, of course, by Mercury. I talked about that earlier. That's communication, is how we speak, how we think. Okay. The fourth house is the house of home. Okay. It is all things home. It's home, it's family, home, family life, family values, all of that sort of thing. Real estate in by some accounts. That's the fourth house. Okay. That is ruled by the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. Okay. So your fourth house is, who are you at home? What is the energy you present when you're at home? What is the energy you present when you're around your family? That's your fourth house. Okay. Your fifth house is your fifth house is ruled by the sign of Leo. And that is, did I say Cancer? Yes. Your fifth house is ruled by the sign of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. Okay. I did say fourth house was Cancer and the moon. The fifth house is Leo and the sun. The fifth house is a number of things. Okay. It is where you'll find your creative energy. It's where you find your passions. It's where you find your romance style. How are you in the area of romance? What are your passions? What are your strengths? I like to call the fifth house the house of your strength. What is your greatest strength in all of your energy body? What is your greatest strength? That energy is found in your fifth house. Okay. Again, fifth house is ruled by Leo, and that is ruled by the sun. So your fifth house is also perhaps of all of the houses where you shine the brightest. Okay, that's your fifth house. Your sixth house is ruled by Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. In the sixth house, that is where because it's Virgo, it's about service. So it is about routines, it's about being organized, it's about being analytical. It is also what is your approach to health, your personal health, and the way you look at health. That all of that's Virgo energy, and that is ruled by the sixth house. That is what the area of life that is governed by the sixth house. Halfway through, the seventh house is ruled by Libra, and it is the house of partnership. Okay, so it is where you can find the type of energy that you would be attracted to in a spouse. It is also how you behave in partnerships, and it could be in business partnerships, it could be in a marriage, it could be in brother-sister relationships, whatever you name it. It could be in partnerships that have to do with team sports or whatever type of partnership you could find yourself in. Your seventh house energy or seventh house sign is going to dictate how you move in a partnership. Okay, seventh house is ruled by Libra, which is ruled by Venus. Okay, your eighth house is your house of, I like to call it transformation. A lot of people like to look at the other parts. The eighth house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by both Mars and the moon. Okay, we know the first house, Aries, is ruled by Mars. The eighth house, is ruled by Scorpio, and that has a co-ruler, Mars and the moon. So what did I talk about earlier? If the seventh house is, if Venus is your love language, your love style, and Mars is your sex style, then what do you have? It eighth house ruled by Scorpio. It is you can find things in there like what turns you on. I don't hear a lot of astrologers say this, but I like to say the eighth house is where you can find what turns you on. Okay, so whatever. For example, I have a friend of mine who has Gemini in the eighth house, and I asked her. I said, you got Gemini in the eighth house in your chart. I said, let me ask you something. This before I even explained it to her. I said, I'm gonna ask you straight up. Are you turned on by intelligent conversation? She's like, oh my God, yes. That's Gemini. Gemini is about intelligence as well. Okay. Gemini is the learner, is the student. So Gemini likes to go and learn. It likes to go out, it likes to learn, and it likes to share what it learns through communication. The opposite sign, Sagittarius, is the teacher. Gemini learns, Sagittarius teaches. But Sagittarius also learns. It travels to go learn. It travels to go teach. Okay. That's sort of a little bit of an aside note. But anyway, your eighth house is where you'll find even greater than what turns you on. Your eighth house is the energy that you use to transform yourself. Remember, your natal chart is about who you are. Your eighth house is the energy that you use to transform yourself. It is the energy that you use to transform situations in your life that need transformation. Okay. It says Mercury seventh house is ruled by Pisces. Why does that change? It says Mercury seventh house. Okay, so let me take a pause here to answer that question. If you're saying in your natal chart, Lucky, that you have Mercury, your planet Mercury is in the seventh house, and in your house alignment, your seventh house ruler is Pisces. It just means that when you at the time that you were born, Pisces was in the seventh house. The house signs change every 2 hours. You got 12 houses in the zodiac, and they change every 2 hours to give you your 24-hour day. So if you've got if you've got Pisces in your seventh house, that probably means that you're a Virgo rising. Am I right or wrong? Answer that for me in the chat. But yeah, if you've okay, good. So you got it. Yeah. So if you got Pisces in your seventh house, that simply tells me that you are a Virgo rising. Yes, you're Virgo rising. Unless I'm wrong, you Aquarius rising. The Aquarius rising, and you you might have some double signs there. No, you can't have Pisces in the seventh house if Aquarius is your rising sign. You would have Pisces in your second house. Oh, you're an Aquarius sun. Oh, okay. I was talking about your rising sign. I was talking about your rising sign, not your sun. Okay, yeah. If you have Pisces in the seventh and you're looking at your chart, you're probably going to find um, Virgo in the first house or your Virgo rising. Anyway, let me get back on point. So sorry about the side note, guys. I probably should have answered that at the end, but I'm a Sagittarius Mercury, so I can get distracted and go off on a tangent easy if I'm not focused. Okay. Astrology is also about overcoming situations. Oh, okay. So you're Leo rising. I see what happened there. You probably got something going on in a chart, kind of similar to me, where you could have the same sign across two houses. So that's fine. That's fine. I can see how that works. Anyway, you probably have another sign intercepted in one of the houses, and then you skip to Pisces in the seventh. That's how that could work. Anyway, let me get back to my point here. So I think I stopped at house 8. We're talking about the eighth house, which is ruled by Scorpio. It is how you transform yourself. It is the energy that you use to transform. Okay. Let me keep it moving because I don't want to tell y'all my whole chart. All right. Anyway, house 9 is ruled by Sagittarius. It is the house of, I like to call it higher learning. Okay. It is the house of higher learning. It is also the house where you find how you feel. What is your approach to religion? It is your approach to travel. It's your approach to dealing with foreigners, people who are not from where you're from. It's your approach to dealing with foreign languages. Those are some things that you'll find in the ninth house. It could also be your teaching style, because we know that Sagittarius is the teacher. Okay. It is the teacher. It's the explorer. It's the teacher as well. Okay. 10th house. 10th house. What did I say? Okay. Ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So you can also find a little bit about how you expand and grow in the ninth house as well. Now, the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. So the 10th house is the house of, some people call it the house of career. It is where you're going to find the energy that you put into public service. Okay. So it is how you are in the not public service per se. That's a little bit more the 11th house, but the 10th house is more the house of career. What is your contribution to, if the 4th house is home, you go 180 degrees or six signs up, and then you're in the 10th house. So it's opposite. Opposite home is work, or opposite home is outside of home. So how do you appear outside of home? That's going to be your 10th house sign. Okay. Your 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Okay. So you tend to be, Saturn is more serious. Okay. Saturn is serious, is kind of stern. So it's a little bit more, okay, how do people see this person when they're at work? Okay. How does the public see this person? That's your 10th house sign. Your 11th house sign is 10th house is career. 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, which is your house of humanitarianism. So the 11th house is where you find the energy that you use to contribute to humanity. What is your energy of change for the improvement or the upliftment of humanity. Okay, that's your 11th house. And then your 12th house is ruled by Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. There are a lot of things, a lot of different definitions that you can find about the 12th house, and you guys can look this stuff up on your own. But I tend to look at the 12th house as, just because this is my area of focus. This is what I like to look at. The 12th house is your connection to the ancestral realm. The 12th house is your connection to past lives. The 12th house is connections to your subconscious. What is your subconscious? What is your connection to the spirit realm? All of that is the 12th house. That is your 12th house energy. It could also be, again, I kind of tie it together almost with Pluto, even though it's ruled by Neptune, or it's ruled by Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of dreams. And this is the planet of the subconscious. And Neptune is also a very spiritual planet. It is the most spiritual of all the planetary energies. So your 12th house could also be your house of spirituality. What is your approach? What is the energy that you bring into spirituality? For example, I'm a 12th house Libra. I got Libra in the first, I got Libra in the 12th. My approach to spirituality is truth. I like to present truth. I like balance. I like justice. I'm like, speak no lies. That's the energy. It can also talk about some other things, like your connection to, what did you, for example, with my 12th house sign being Libra, what did I come here to balance? Did I come here to balance anything that has to do with my ancestral lineage? So that's the 12th house. So that was just a quick, it wasn't really quick, but that was just a quick rundown, a short, brief rundown of the planets and the houses. Let me get back to the slide. Okay, so we've gone over the energy of each planet. We've gone over the facets of life that the 12 astrological houses govern. Okay, and I did mention the subconscious with the 12th house too. That's another big one. The subconscious, spirituality, past life energy, ancestral realm, connection to the angelic realm, all that good stuff, all of that stuff that people. The 12th house also holds things that are hidden. What is the energy in with regards to the parts of you that people don't see? Okay, that's the 12th house. So some people call it the house of endings too, but that's not anything to be afraid of. The end of one thing is always the beginning of something else. Keep that in mind. Okay, there's really no such thing as death. The body goes back, but the energy that is you continues on. We're eternal beings. Don't let anybody tell you that you live in to get to eternity. You're already eternal. You came here from the realm of eternity to do something in the physical. All right. Now the next bullet point: how to tell which area of your life will be most impacted by retrograde. Here's where we get to the meat. Okay. Let me make sure I got this on the screen. I'm sharing with you guys. Okay, good. I am. Okay. How to tell which area of your life will be the most impacted by the retrograde. Let me look at my notes here. Okay. To do that, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, which sign is the planetary retrograde in? That's the first thing I do. Okay. Other people do it differently. Let me see. I got a question here. Let me deal with this question and I'll come back to that. Let's see. Tora Girl said, so where I find my Mercury is where there will be correction. If I'm jumping ahead, I will wait for the answer. You are jumping ahead and the answer's coming. So thank you. Thank you. It's coming, Tora Girl. Here we go. All right. So back to the slide. Okay. Bullet point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How to tell which area of your life will be most impacted by the retrograde. Okay. So the first thing you want to look at is which sign is the planetary retrograde in? Okay. Let me bring something up here. I'm gonna show y'all how I do this so that y'all can kind of see it real time. All right. Let me see. Hang on a sec. Wait 1 second here. Okay, let me bring this up. Whoops, that's not what I want. There we go. All right. Everybody got their own different browser they like or web search engine. I like DuckDuckGo for now until one of the big guys. In fact, I heard they got bought out by one of the big guys. It might explain why the search results aren't that good anymore. But okay, let's see. Mercury retrograde 2023. Okay. You can always type in the year and it'll give you all of the retrograde. Let's do this. Mercury retrograde calendar. Let's do that. Hopefully y'all can see that. All right. Do I want that one? No, I don't. Hang on a sec. That's the one I want. Mercury retrograde dates. This is the almanac. Okay. I don't care about that. Let's go. Okay. When is Mercury in retrograde in 2023? December 13th through January 1st. And let's see. No, that's not what I want. Hang on a second. I can try this one. Okay, right here. You guys can see this. Let me bring it bigger. Mercury, the planet of communication, stations retrograde in Capricorn from December 13th, 2023 until January 1st, 2024. All right. And I don't worry about that. It could complicate your end of year plans. Y'all listen, y'all already know that this is high vibrational. So I'm not, again, I mentioned this in the title. A lot of these amateurs like to get you to be afraid of these retrogrades. I call them course corrections. Okay. I call them course corrections and opportunities to do things. So, which sign is the planet retrograde in? You find that out. It's in Capricorn. So now, the very next thing you want to do is what did I say before? The houses are the things that are closest to us. It is the houses, then the planets. Okay. So I told y'all earlier I'm a Capricorn, but I have each person watching this video has Capricorn in one or more houses. You don't have to be a Capricorn. You don't have to have any planets in Capricorn. Okay. You can have all your planets in other signs, no planets in Capricorn. I'll give you an example. I don't have any planets in Taurus. Okay. I don't have any planets in Aries, just to give you some examples. Okay. So, yes, I do have my sun in Capricorn. I mentioned that earlier. But whether you've got a planet in there or not, we'll deal with that later. Everybody's got a house that has Capricorn in it. For me, I have Capricorn in my fourth house. So, how do you tell? What's the question again here? How to tell which area of your life will be most impacted by the retrograde? The first thing you want to do is you want to look at what house you have that sign in. I've got Capricorn. Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. I've got Capricorn in my fourth house. So what does that mean, Matthew? If Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, there's a few things to look at. There's a few things to look at. Some people say that this is a little bit, some people don't look at it this way, but this is how I look at it. I always want to look at what sign is that planet retrograde in, and then I want to look at what area, what house I have that sign in. I've got Capricorn in my fourth house. So with Mercury being retrograde, sitting in the sign of Capricorn, that's telling me already, and I've seen it. I've had some. What did I say? Mercury rules over. It rules over communication. Okay, so it's the planet of communication. And what do retrogrades do? Retrogrades are course corrections. I mentioned this earlier. It is a course correction for whatever area that ordinance governs over. So if Mercury governs communication, that means a retrograde is an opportunity to course correct some communication that went awry in some area of your life. So with it being retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, I've already been having conversations with in the area of home or with different family members, and I'm gonna share a powerful story with you guys at story time, which is going to be the next to the last bullet. But so you want to look at that. You want to look at what sign is that planet retrograde in. The next thing you want to do is look at what house you have that sign in. I talked about that. All right. Next, this and understand something, family. Natal chart astrology is a complex weave. You don't have just one for one. It kind of goes all over the place. It's interwoven to help make up who you are as far as your energy body goes. So when you're talking about Mercury, what did I say earlier? It also rules over the third house. The third house is the house of communication. Okay. So what do I have in my third house? I got to look at that too. My third house is Sagittarius. Okay. So my third house is going to be a little bit affected by a Mercury retrograde, because Mercury rules over the third house. Next, what planet do you have Mercury, or what sign is your Mercury in? My Mercury is in Sagittarius. So you have to look at the area that is governed by those different places. Let me go back to my notes so I don't get too far off. She says, so where I find my Mercury? Oh, okay, that's the same question from before. So, which house do I have that sign in? Mercury is also the planetary ruler of houses 3 and houses 6. So one must also take into consideration any planets or nodes that they have in those houses in their birth chart, because you could be having reflective thoughts or conversations that serve to put you back on course for those areas of your life. Let me give you myself, okay? Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Where do I have Capricorn? I've got a Capricorn sun. So that is my I am statement, who I am. I'm also a north node in Capricorn. What is the north node? The north node is the destiny point. It is the purpose for which you incarnated. What did your soul come here to do from a destiny standpoint? What is the soul purpose? That's your north node. My north node is in Capricorn in house 3. Okay. So I've got this Mercury retrograde is affecting a number of areas in my life. What have I been doing? I have been looking at what needs to be corrected in those areas. So retrogrades aren't something to be afraid of. There's something for you to do reflection on and say, okay, how can I harness this retrograde energy to correct something in my life? So I have had conversations at home about my destiny over these past couple of weeks. About my destiny, what is my soul purpose? What are some areas that what are some things that my soul came here to experience? I got Capricorn. I got a north node in Capricorn in the third house. Third house is ruled by Mercury. Mercury sitting in Capricorn. I hope I'm not confusing anybody, but these are areas that I've seen be affected. Okay. So you want to look at what is your planetary ruler. If anybody wants to put in there like what they have in their third house, or where what sign their Mercury's in, or not what sign. What do you have? Do you have anything Capricorn? What house is Capricorn in? These are all areas that you might be affected by a retrograde. So there are opportunities to harness that energy and promote healing in that area. Hopefully I'm not losing anybody. I'm trying not to make this a super long video. Mercury is the planetary ruler of houses 3 and houses 6. So one must also take into consideration any planets or nodes that they have in those houses. So any planets that you have in the third house could also be affected. My sun is in the third house. Third house is the house or the ruler or the governor of communication. So I'm almost this retrograde is having a very powerful effect on, now everybody's affected by planetary retrogrades, but again, what area of life it's going to impact you has a lot to do with where you have that, what planet, what house you have that planet in. For Mercury, it's going to be any planets that you have in house 3, because Mercury rules over the third house. Okay. So any planets that you have in house 3, it could also be any planets that you have in house number 6. Why? Because even though house 6 is ruled by Virgo, the planetary ruler for Virgo is Mercury. So any planets that you have in the 6th house could also be affected. All right. Any Virgos out there, if you're a Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, this particular retrograde, a Mercury retrograde, could have a profound effect on you, on your sun, on your core essence. If you're a Virgo first house, for example, it could have an effect on how you appear or your thoughts about yourself. So now, I hope I didn't lose anybody. I feel like I may have lost some of you guys. So I encourage some of you guys to do some additional research on the different houses in the zodiac. There's one guy I like to watch on YouTube called, his name is Astro Finesse. He's pretty cool. He does some easy to follow astrology videos, so you guys can check him out as well. There's a bunch of them, too many to name, but he's one of the ones I like. So now let me go back here. Let me stop the screen. Anybody's got a question, or if you feel like I'm losing you, please drop it in the chats, because this is natal chart astrology is super huge, and I want to focus on this Mercury retrograde. I feel like I've jumped around a bit, but I'm gonna bring us back, and maybe this story will help. Okay, I talked about how to tell which area of your life will be most impacted by that retrograde. Again, any planets that you have in or whatever sign you have in Mercury, what house is your Mercury in, what sign is your Mercury in, you want to kind of look at that too. That could be affected. If you're not a Mercury in Capricorn, it may not have as profound an effect on you as it would have somebody that has a Mercury in Capricorn. However, if your Mercury is in the third house or the sixth house, it could affect you. Okay. All right. So, and also whatever signs you have in your third house, that is the type of energy that you're perhaps going to experience this even more so in. But let me jump ahead now and give you guys a story time. Okay. We're going to do story time, applying the energy of the retrograde to promote healing. Okay. Let me see. It looks like I got a question. If Mercury is in the 10th house, then is that about career? Yes, it is. So I thank you for asking that question, because that's going to put me back on course. I need a retrograde here. Let me course correct. I'm going to use you for example, Tora girl. Thank you so much. If your Mercury is in the 10th house, then what that could suggest is that during this retrograde, you have had some introspective thoughts or even conversations around your career, what you're doing for work. Maybe you're thinking twice about what you're doing for work, or maybe there's some course correction in the area of communication at your job. Maybe you're having a conversation with a coworker or a boss or a direct report or employee, if you are the boss, on something that maybe happened between now and the last retrograde, or could have happened at any time. True. Okay, you said true. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for validating that. So that kind of family, that is kind of how that works. She has Mercury in the 10th house. So she's going to be having conversations about career. I've got my Mercury in the third house, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, my Mercury's in the third house. Okay. So I've been having communications about my thoughts, as well as communication about past conversations that where things went wrong, where things went awry. Now I'm going to give you an example, harnessing the energy of a retrograde to promote healing. Not only is my sun in the third house, but my Mercury's in the third house. So I got a lot of third house energy in my chart. Okay. Listen. Oh, here's a perfect example. My North Node is in Capricorn in the third house. Capricorn is like the workaholic of Capricorn and Virgo, but Capricorn is like the workaholic of the zodiac. So if you got a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising, people probably see you as a workaholic. Okay. Here I am at work talking to y'all about communication. That's Mercury retrograde influence all day long. I'm here at work talking to y'all about communication. I'm a Capricorn in the third house. So I wanted y'all to see how big a web astrology is. It's not a one-to-one. It never is. So now let me give y'all this story. I'm also a Capricorn in the fourth house. I told y'all the fourth house is the house of things that are home and family. Mercury, the sign of communication, is retrograde. I'm sorry, the energy or the ordinance of communication is retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Watch this. I have a family member near and dear to me. Love him to death. I normally don't do gender in there because I don't want to give anything away, but I just said it. Love him to life. Let me recant that. Love him to life. Love him to the moon and back. But every now and then we butt heads and we fall out over. It's usually something petty or misunderstanding or whatever. But this last one, y'all, was pretty big. And y'all know Capricorn. Anybody that knows Capricorn has a superior cutoff game. When a Capricorn ready to, like, I'm done with it, Capricorn can what I like to call compartmentalize it, push it aside, and keep it moving. We had a communication or a misfire of communication 3 years ago. 3 years ago. It's been almost 3 years. That actually has been a little bit over 3 years, where we fell out And I was just like, you know what, man, this conversation went way south. I don't like some things that were said. I tried to go back 3 years ago and um, reach out a hand and try to, hey man, whatever, blah blah blah. Nothing. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm not gonna run behind nobody. It's a wrap. Boom, I'm done. I can keep it moving. Y'all, we haven't spoken in 3 years, except for where did that gnat come from? Anyway, we haven't spoken in 3 years, y'all, except for I'm gonna get this gnat. If he fly in front of here, he's done. Okay, distractions. Anyway, except for a happy birthday phone call last year, not this year, my birthday last year, we hadn't spoken, and no text or anything. We barely have spoken, and I was just like, you know what, man? I said, people in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Maybe it's a wrap. I don't know. I'm good. I moved on. We're not seeing eye to eye, and we're not thinking eye to eye. What is the scripture from Amos? I believe it's Amos 3:3 or something like that. It says, how can two walk together lest they be agreed, or but they be agreed, or something like that? Let me look at that real quick, just because I'm curious. Just a little aside. Amos. Yeah. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Let me show that to y'all, because y'all know how I like to do. For those of you that like to see it, right there. Can two walk together except they be agreed? So sometimes it's like, you know what? We ain't seeing eye to eye, man. Maybe it's time to keep it moving. We hadn't spoken for 3 years. But I knew that this was a retrograde. And I said, you know what, man? This just hit me, y'all. I said, I want to do something different. I want to see if God created all of these ordinances, and I know that retrogrades are course correction. Let me just see, man. And then besides that, y'all, with everything that's going on in the world, and y'all know I've been nailing these. I'm not bragging or anything. It's just math. If you know how to read the math of the universe, you can kind of tell what's coming. If you know how to read astrology and numerology, which is just the math of the universe, you know it's coming. So it ain't really I'm not bragging. I just was right. I read it. Just tells me I read it correctly. But I've been nailing all of these predictions with regards to what's coming and what has happened between 2023 and 2024. I told y'all heading into 2024, people were going to continue getting exposed. The latest is some of y'all favorite televangelists of a big church. I don't want to name it. I don't want to jump in the fray, but y'all know who I'm talking about. A certain pastor that goes by initial, and then a last name. Okay. Y'all see what's happening. Now he's exposed. He out there now trying to lawyer up. I'm just saying. So with everything that's going on in the world, that all of the conflict, me knowing what's coming in 2024, just based on numerology, I say, you know what, man? I want my heart to be light. I want my heart to be light. And whatever I can correct with regards to the people I love, I want to do that. And so I just reached out. I wasn't even, to be honest with y'all, I didn't even want to talk about what happened in 2020. I was just like, you know what, man, let's just put it behind us. That was my thinking. I want to see him. That's my family. We've been like this our whole lives, except for, some fallouts here and there, which typically maybe last some days, some weeks, maybe months, but never 3 years. That was the longest time, y'all. 3 years we did not talk. And I said, let me just hit him up and see if he want to, go out. And man, let me tell you something. That's one of the best times I've had with that family member in years. Like, we was just tripping and laughing and catching up and just comparing notes. And he apologized. He said, I wasn't even looking for it. I literally was not looking for it. And he came out of the blue. He said, man, I said some things some years ago that I'm not proud of. I'm sorry, man. I'm nah. And I was like, man, he said, no, man. No, I shouldn't have come at you the way I did, man. He said it never really sat right with me. And I just wanted to make that right. So, I just asked, man, that you just you forgive me, man, because I didn't. And I said, man, that's heavy. I said, listen, man, everybody's got a right to be them. We all have to learn. Let me see. He said, let me come back to that. So let me finish the story and I'll come to the question. But he just basically, man, we buried the hatchet and it was beautiful. And I said, man, this stuff, this planetary retrograde, here we are having communication to course correct a communication that went wrong 3 years ago. Okay. And, so that was that. At home, Some other conversations have been coming up. Things come up so they can come out, but they're course correction. Look, let's fix something that was broken some time ago. Let's see if we can't fix this in the area of communication. So that's why I wanted to share that story, y'all, because I wanted somebody to see that while you are under a retrograde, that planet is chilling. That planet is chilling in one side. It's like, I can't move. I got to let the other planets catch up so that we can continue moving forward with the right spacing as originally designed by the Most High. So the Most High put those retrogrades in place. That's what y'all got to understand. A retrograde is not something to be afraid of. Waves go up, waves come down. Okay. And not to get icky, I can't even believe I'm saying this because this stuff used to gross me out when I'm younger. But a lady goes through something once a month to correct and clear things out. Okay. That's how that happens. Things have to be repaired so that they can continue to move forward properly. That is the same energy of the retrogrades. It's the same as a drought. People see droughts as bad things. The drought is just the Earth's way of saying, I'm tired. I cannot give you any more food right now. I need to rest and recover so that I can produce more food. Droughts are designed by the Most High. People look at droughts like they're a bad thing. It's like, all right, you know what? There's a drought, man. This is why when he was dealing with the ancient Israelites, who were also agricultural people, he told them, listen, you work these fields for 6 years, but then there's a Sabbath year. There's 1 year where you cannot work this field. You got to let this field rest. Retrogrades are like the planets resting. Mercury does it 4 times a year. Why? Because Mercury's the fastest planet. It's the closest one. Okay. It's the closest one inside. Okay. And then you got Pluto. It takes Mercury. Mercury goes around. It goes retrograde. Anyway, I'm getting off. So that is why I wanted to share that and get you guys to understand that retrogrades are opportunities for course corrections. Okay, we're gonna have a Venus retrograde coming up soon. That's an opportunity to correct something in the area of love or partnership. So understand what these different ordinances govern, and then understand how they impact your own life and what areas we need to be looking in introspection. What did the Messiah say? He said the kingdom of God is within. We need to stop looking without and looking within. When there's a retrograde, listen, the full moon is the time for releases. That's why I sang that Teddy Pendergrass Love TKO. I think you better let it go. That was a little bit of a joke, but the full moon being in Cancer, new moons are times for manifestation because it's something new. It's new, fresh energy. Full moons are full energy. It's time to release. So you look for releases. I'm a moon in Cancer. Okay, this is a Cancer full moon. So what things can I release in my life? Is there anything that I can release that no longer serves? I know we're talking about a Mercury retrograde, but I'm trying to get y'all to understand that these ordinances were created by God. For the last year plus, I've had Christian folk coming at me in the comments telling me I'm somehow going to hell because I read astrology, because I know how to read the planetary energies and know how to apply them to my life. And then I just showed you in Jeremiah 31 and 35 that he created the sun, the ordinances of the sun, the moon, and the stars, okay? He created the ordinances of the sun, moon, and stars. Then I went through and I told you what an ordinance is. It is a regulation. What do regulations do? They govern. So he put these things here to govern certain aspects of our lives. And guess what? You have those same energies inside of you. You are those same energies that are there. As above, so below. As within, so without. At the atomic level, you have masculine, feminine, and neutral energy. Masculine proton, feminine electron, neutral neutron. Guess what? That's at the atomic level, the most base level. Well, guess what? Each of us is made up of masculine energy, 3 parts masculine, 3 parts feminine, 1 part neutral when you're talking about the 7 major chakras. All of this stuff goes together, family. So when you're dealing with a Mercury retrograde, thank you, Toro Girl. Toro Girl said, awesome story. Let me see. Lucky Garen said, thanks, Matt. You're very welcome. Jojo Max said, was it about the Ronnie? The Roni? No, it wasn't. And I wouldn't go into detail about what it was about anyway, Jojo, but no, it wasn't about that. Z Blackness says, blessings to you and yours, Matt. Thank you so much, Z Blackness. Okay, so I'm trying to get y'all to understand that Mercury retrograde is an opportunity to course correct in the area of communication. The area is going to be impacted the most by, you got to look at that. You got to look at it. So it's the same. I did a separate video on how to harness the energy of the moon when when you're dealing with new moons and full moons. Look at what house you have that sign in, and that'll tell you what area is going to be affected. If I got a new moon in Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio second house because I'm a Libra rising. Well, guess what that means? That means I'm looking at something to be coming in the area of material, something to be regenerated, because Scorpio is a sign of transformation. So I'm looking for some new moon in Scorpio. I'm looking for some transformation in the area of material wealth. This is how these things work, y'all. These are ordinances that were created by the Most High. So stop being afraid of Mercury retrograde. Find out what sign that Mercury is retrograde in. That's going to give you a little bit of what that energy is going to look like. Capricorn is about structure. So if Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, I'm looking at, okay, well, that I can use that energy of structure to help to structure some new communication. Yeah, this stuff it's not exact science. It's not exact science. It's going to mean different things to different people, but does it apply? Does it apply? So do I have any questions? Let me make sure I didn't leave anything off. Let me go back to my notes here. I feel like I jumped around, y'all. Y'all help me out. I feel like I jumped around. Okay, I did a story time, applying the energy of the retrograde to promote healing. Story time, yeah. So I'm in the process of I'm a Capricorn in the fourth house, so that's the area of home for me, home and family. That's family. Course correction. We course corrected. We're cooler now than we were before we fell out. We're cooler now than we were before we fell out. So if y'all have some and Tora girl, thank you again for sharing that you actually have been having some conversations in the area of your job, of career. Thank you for sharing that, because that's proof positive. Does anybody else want to share what house they have their Mercury in? I can maybe give you some tips on what area is going to be affected by this retrograde for you. Mine is pure communication. Mercury is a ruler of communication, and my Mercury's in the third house. So mine is just pure communication. And y'all, we don't have a lot of time before Mercury is going to station direct for next week. January 1st is going to station direct. It's going to be out of retrograde. Mercury retrogrades are the shortest retrogrades, but they're the most impactful. This is why. Now, I will say this for the people that are, that talk about the fear aspect of it. Hey, watch your words during retrogrades. I did see a couple of occasions where I received comments in YouTube videos that I was like, whoa, are they coming at me wrong? And I was like, wait a minute, Matt, you are mature enough to know that during the Mercury retrograde, written communications, digital, electronic communications can be misconstrued. Let me go back and reread this and consider how this may not have been negative, but was perhaps positive. I've actually erased emails. I've erased texts and rewritten them because I'm like, I'm reading this wrong. When Mercury goes retrograde, sometimes this is why I like to pick up the phone or have a face-to-face conversation with somebody during a Mercury retrograde, because it's easier to not have to worry about something being misinterpreted when you send it electronically. So Mercury retrogrades are time. It is time to pay attention to your communication, because you don't want to create a situation that you got to go back and course correct during the next Mercury retrograde, or something that's going to affect you perhaps for 3 years. You don't want that. So yes, it is true that you want to watch your words, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Where you focus on, where your what's that saying? Where attention goes, energy flows. So if you're focusing your attention on the positive, your energy is going to go toward the positive. If you're focusing your energy on the negative, then you're going to get negative results, or negative. Yeah, you're going to get negative results. Y'all hear me talk all the time about being high vibrational. When you're high vibrational, when your emotions are in the high vibrational range, you attract high vibrational occurrences, circumstances, whatever, into your life. When your emotions are in the low vibrational range, you attract low vibrational stuff. That's the real law of attraction. That's the real law of attraction. You attract at the level that you vibrate at. This is why I'm so big on staying high vibrational. If you find yourself in a situation that you're a high vibrational being, but You find yourself in something that could be considered low vibrational, work through it if you can. If you can't, just bounce for a minute until you can, until you can recapture your faculties or let the situation cool off. These things, y'all, we have to stay high vibrational. So Mercury retrograde is not anything to be afraid of. You should learn how to harness that energy and promote healing. Again, big shout out to you, Toro girl, for sharing that. I would love to be able to help somebody else out if you knew what house you had Mercury in. And for those of y'all that don't know what house you have Mercury in or what your Mercury sign is or any of that stuff, for those of you that just only know your sun sign, you don't know your moon sign, you don't know your rising sign, you need to know what time you were born and then go to a natal chart calculator. I like Cafe Astrology because it's simple, but there's a bunch of them out there. That's not the only one I use. I just use that one as a base one. When I want more information, then I'll go to some of the ones that are a little bit more complex when I want something a little bit more specific that I cannot find in Cafe Astrology. But you need to know what time you were born. And then you just go into that natal chart calculator. You put your date of birth in there. You put your city of birth, and you put the time in there, and that'll give you your house system. It'll tell you what sign you have in which house and all that good stuff. Okay, so you want to know what area of your life will be most impacted by the retrograde? Look at what sign the planet Mercury is retrograde in, and look at what house you have Mercury in. Look at what house you have that planet in, and also look at what houses are governed by that planet. I've also been having communications about Mercury rules over the third and the sixth house. So sixth house is Virgo, that rules over health, organization. I've been having conversations, Mercury, I've been having conversations about health. What can I do to be healthier? How much talking to people about going to the gym, that sort of thing, talking about conversations about diet. You guys might see that coming up a lot. Toro Girl says, so how do I get to find the astrological calendar? You can just put in your favorite search engine. You can go in there, it just depends on which. Are you looking for the retrograde calendar? Because you can go in there and do something like, for example, what comes after the retrograde? What comes after the retrograde is it goes back direct. So if it's retrograde now to sign of Capricorn, that means it moved backwards to go into Capricorn. The next sign after Capricorn is Aquarius. So that would naturally mean that Mercury is going to station direct in the sign of Aquarius next. So we can go here. Let me see if I can do a live answer to that question for you. Hang on one second. Let me go DuckDuckGo. And I do think that Cafe Astrology. Let's see. Sagittarius, huh? I said that wrong. Okay, so I said Aquarius. It looks like here it's going. This is Cafe Astrology, but this is a good one. No, that's a little bit too complicated. Hang on one second. I'm gonna find a good one for you. Let's see, 2024 planetary transits. Let's do that. Oh, Mercury is not playing. Okay, so it's stationed retrograde in Capricorn. This moving Sagittarius. Does this move backwards? Huh. No, this is going back to Capricorn. Mercury's a little bit different. I told y'all, listen, disclaimer, I told y'all I'm not an expert on transits. I'm very strong on natal chart astrology, but not an expert in transits. Here is one I'm going to bring up on the screen for you, Tora girl. That was a great question. Let me bring it up on the screen. Okay. I did. Let me show you the search terms I used. I typed in, as you can see, planetary transits 2024. Okay. And then I went down and clicked this link right here just because that looked like a good one. Planetary transit dates for 2024 at Insta Astro. Okay. So this tells you what the planets are. K2 Rahu. That's when you see Ketu and Rahu, that means that they're using Vedic astrology or Eastern astrology. I use Western just because that's what I started on and that's what I like. But anyway, Mercury turns direct in Scorpio on January 2nd, 2024. Well, if this is Vedic, I wonder if it's a little bit different. Hang on one second here. Timelines of Astro Calendar 2024. I do like Astro Seek. Let's see what this one says. Okay. Sun. That is the sun. Okay. I like this. I like this one. Okay. Let me make sure this is on the screen. You guys can see it. Okay, good. All right. So this, if you go to Astro Seek, let me pop this in here for you. I'll put this in the chat. Okay. So if you go to Astro Seek, you got the sun. You can look at all the planets or the nodes. Okay. So y'all heard me talk about the North Node. That's the node. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Oh, so now you're playing with me. Okay. Uh-oh, where did my drop down go? Darn it. There we go. Okay. It doesn't say the North Node. All right, I'm gonna stay off it. I'm gonna get off of that. Let me go back to the sun. All right, so we're doing Mercury. You can click here, go Mercury, boom. Mercury. Wait a minute. All right, so now this is a little bit this is a little bit more complex right here. This is showing me the no, I don't want that. Let me get off of that, y'all. Hang on. There we go. Ingresses. Okay. So all planets. Mercury 2024, January 14th. So Mercury is going to come out of, is that ingresses? What is this? Mercury enters Capricorn January 14th. Mercury enters Aquarius. Yes. Mercury is going to enter Aquarius February the 5th. So it's kind of like a wobble. It's like Mercury went backwards and then back to forward. So it's almost like it went backwards and then forward. The retrogrades are like backwards movement. But January 14th, Mercury's going back into Capricorn. February 5th, it enters Aquarius. February 23rd, Pisces. What is that next retrograde? Is it just telling me the directs? Anyway, these are the transits. These are the transits right here for 2024 for Mercury. And I hope I didn't lose you. I don't know if that answers your question. She said thanks. Okay, good. Yeah, this isn't actually a retrograde calendar, but it just shows you what the planetary movements are and what sign they're going to be in at what date, if you want to look at that. So that's important to some people. I listen to some of the other. I got some astrologers that I follow on Instagram, and I just listen to them say, okay, this planet is entering this sign on this such and such date. This is how this is going to affect you. I take what they say, and then I go and do my own research, and I'm like, okay, if, for example, Venus is entering the sign of Leo, how does that enter? Oh, you wanted to know the directions. That helps. Okay, good. Thank you. So, for example, if I know that Venus is entering the sign of Leo, well, my natal Venus is in Sagittarius, so I need to know, okay, Leo and Sagittarius, are they harmonious? Yes, they are harmonious. So that's going to be good for me. If Mercury enters the sign of, if Venus enters Pisces, well, Venus and Pisces isn't necessarily a harmonious aspect with my Venus, which is in Sagittarius. It gets complex, y'all. Let me just stay with the Mercury retrograde. It gets complex, but it's fun though. If you get to learn it, it's fun because I really feel like it can help you navigate your own life And the thing is, I say that understanding the transits, the astrological transits, is almost like it's the weather of the cosmos. If you know you got to go drive an hour away from home and it's going to be a blizzard, the weather here on the ground is going to be a blizzard, you probably want to plan for something different. Or you're like, you know what? I don't need to get in the car and drive that hour because it's going to be a blizzard. So I'm not going to go on such and such date. It's kind of the same with the cosmos. We each have cosmic energy inside of our bodies, and the people that we deal with on a regular, be it family or siblings or coworkers or friends, they have different energies as well. So the energy of the cosmos is like the weather of the cosmos. It could affect the communication or the relationship you have with that person just based on what their sign is and how their signs match up with what's going on in the cosmos. This is why I like to look at it, because I've always said this, and I'll get ready to wrap this video up. Astrology. I always say that if they taught astrology in school, if they taught natal chart astrology in school, each of us would have better relationships. Astrology is all about understanding relationships. It really is really what it's about. If you lived on a planet by yourself, if you just lived here on Earth by yourself with just the animals, you wouldn't need to know a birth chart, because you don't have anybody else to interact with. You don't. So if you are in a situation with someone, let's use Mercury for example, since we're talking about Mercury retrograde. If you have a person, let's say for example, you got two people that you know. Person A, you have harmonious communication with all the time. Y'all like never, even if you disagree, it's like cordial. It never gets like rough. It doesn't get like rough or feel personal or anything like that. It's just smooth. Whether you in agreement or you're in disagreement, the communication is smooth. Person B, you got to like watch your words, because you might strike a match and then you end up arguing or fussing or something like that. What you oftentimes will find is that your Mercury with person A is going to be a harmonious aspect. Okay. Your Mercury with person B is going to not be a harmonious aspect. That's kind of how that works. So basic, I like to say, if your Mercury's in a water sign, then you're probably going to have better communication with another Mercury in a water sign or Mercury in an earth sign. If your Mercury is, and this is basic because sometimes you're looking at the degrees, it may be close enough to where it's almost the same sign. For example, if you've got someone who is a Mercury in 29 degrees of Scorpio, and then somebody else who's a Mercury in 2 degrees of Sagittarius, there's only like 3 degrees between them. So it's not going to be a harsh, even though water and fire don't go together. They're both on the cusp. So it's going to be like, it's almost like they're the same sign. So you kind of got to look at the distance too. But as a general rule, if you got Mercury in a water sign, then you're probably going to have easier communication with another Mercury in water or Mercury in earth. Whereas if you're Mercury in water and you're dealing with a Mercury in fire, well, that fire sign might hurt that water sign's feelings, or that water sign Mercury might get emotional in conversation with that Mercury fire sign if it's something that perhaps they're not agreeable on. If it's agreeable, then it don't matter, right? It's the things that we don't necessarily disagree on. How do we interact? Venus, if you are trying to have a relationship with someone that has a harmonious Venus aspect, you're probably going to have a good relationship with them. But if you're trying to have a relationship with somebody, oh, this person looks good, but you know what? They got an opposing, or they got a non-harmonious Venus sign, then you're probably going to have problems in that relationship. So these are things that we need to understand, because what does it do for us? It helps to give us an understanding, and helps to us. It either helps us to learn to grow through challenges, or, this ain't somebody I need to deal with. That's the big purpose of understanding natal chart astrology. And I really wish they taught this stuff in school, but I really feel like the people that run the system don't necessarily, they can't make money off people having harmonious aspects. It's like they feed off strife. I think that's one reason why natal chart astrology is not taught in school, and why the church, which is supposed to be separate from the state, but they look like they work in cahoots sometimes, demonizes it and says, well, you shouldn't know this. But at the top of the religious structures, they all know astrology, tarot, all this other stuff. Everything they tell you not to do, they do it. Just saying. So there's a reason for it. It's information. It's information and understanding energy. When you understand that you are energy and you're not your body, you can then move. You can then move throughout this life. You're not your body. You are energy. The body's only the vehicle. So that's about enough for me, family. I feel like I'm running on. I hope I gave y'all some good information on how to harness the energy of a Mercury retrograde. I will go back and put in the description box how there's an older video I did on how to harness the energy of the moon cycles to maximize the moon, because the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So when you're talking about new moons and full moons, you need to understand those because those energies affect you. They do. Especially if you were born under a new moon. If you were born under a new moon, you probably get emotional during new moons. If you were born under full moon, you probably get emotional during full moons. Just kind of how that works. So lucky are the people who are in between. They weren't born under a full moon or a new moon. Anyway, so that's about it for me, family. Y'all do me a favor. Please do me a huge favor. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you got more questions that you want answered about this subject matter, leave them in the comments below the video. And I do read all the comments and try to keep up with them as much as I can. So you got a comment that you want to go back, you go back and look at the replay, or you got a question, drop it in the comments under the video, and I will see it. And I will do my best to get to it. I don't like to promise, because then if I don't get to it, then people be like, well, you said. So I don't like to do that. I will do my best to get to it. But y'all already know I look at the comments. So most of you that leave comments, I respond to those comments. So I don't have a million subscribers right now, so I getting to your comments is not gonna be an issue. So I did have two viral videos a couple of years ago where I ran out and I was like, okay, I'm up to 500, 600 comments. I can't keep up with all of them anymore. But anyway, 1,000 comments. But anyway, so yeah, leave a comment if you got one, and do me a good big favor and hit that thumbs up button, and share this video with someone that you know might want to hear about it, or might want to know how they can harness the energy of this Mercury retrograde for the week left that we have in a retrograde. And even though it's going to station direct on January 1st, you still have that retrograde. You still have some of that retrograde shadow. So there's still some cleanup in there. The cosmos doesn't stop and turn on a dime. Everything is gradual. Evidence of that, the way it goes from gradually daytime to gradually dark to all the way night. So gradually you start to see the daylight, and then boom, the daylight, then you got dawn, then you got the sun. The cosmos moves the same way. So when you got a retrograde, even though the retrograde is scheduled to end on January 1st, it's not like, okay, boom, retrograde's over. It's over, but it's a gradual transition. It's kind of how that works. So I don't want to let y'all go. Y'all know I don't like getting off of here, man. I love y'all. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and you like being educated, uplifted, entertained, inspired, I'm gonna get that little gnat, y'all. I'm gonna get him. I just don't want to be swinging and missing, and then y'all be like, man, he missed. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And let's see, Jojo Max said, thanks for your time and teaching. Appreciate all you do. Jojo, I appreciate you, bro. I do appreciate you. So thank you so much. I shouldn't assume that's bro, because I know some girls I know that go by Jojo. So no offense if you're not a brother. Maybe I've asked you that before. I don't know, but it don't matter. I love you anyway, period. Ali said, do you have a video on how to understand at Astro Cafe? I don't. What I would tell you, Ali, when I was getting started in astrology, what I did was when I ran my natal chart and I saw what my placements were, I simply went to a search engine and said, okay, what are the characteristics? I typed in Sun in Cancer, Sun in Capricorn, Cancer Moon, Moon in whatever house, or Sun in the third house. What is the Sun in the third house? What's Capricorn Sun in the third house? So run your natal chart, and then when you see those placements, let's say, for example, let's say you are a Capricorn rising, go and either into your favorite search engine and type in characteristics of Capricorn rising, or you may either want to go to YouTube and type in explain Capricorn rising. There are a bunch of astrologers on YouTube that have done excellent videos. Excellent. So any placement that you want to look at in your chart, you can search for it either on the web or here in YouTube and get an explanation for it. So for those of you that like to read, go to your favorite search engine. For those of you that prefer to have somebody break it down in video format or hear it, go to YouTube. But that's the best way I would tell you. So it's not necessarily, Ali, that you're trying to understand cafe astrology or Astro Cafe or any of those online natal chart or astrology calculators. Those are just the tools. What you care about is what the result is. What is this placement? What do I need to know about this placement? Once you get really comfortable with what your placements are, then you can start to look at what these different transits are and how they affect you. So again, I'm not big on the transits, and I'm definitely not big into the predictive. Some people like to do the progressed moons, and they want to know what's going to happen in their personal life and what's going to happen in the world, or what's going to happen in their life when they turn X, Y, and Z age. I don't look at that because I'm like, tomorrow ain't promised. So let me just deal with right now. And that's just my personal take on it. I don't like I don't like looking far into the future. I don't knock anybody who does, because to each his own. We all come here to have different experiences, and everybody is allowed to be them. I just personally don't like to look too far in the future, because again, tomorrow's not promised. And if I look at it and it says something I don't like, then I'm all messed up in the head. So I don't want to look and see what a prediction is for what's going to happen 10 years from now in my own personal life. I don't care. I don't want to know. So Ali said, new at this. Thank you. Okay. You're very welcome, Ali. So you guys, listen, I really appreciated sharing this with you guys. And anytime you guys got any questions, a lot of you follow me on social media, send me a DM. Send me a DM. I'll get to it. I promise you I'll see it. So and I'll respond as soon as I can. And I try to be cordial and respond to anything I get that's not low vibrational. Some people try me, and then they got to get, they got to FAFO. Y'all know what that means. So my mom might be watching, so I don't want to go there today. Though I do drop a few bombs here and there when I'm mad, but I ain't on 10 tonight, y'all. So I'm getting a little sleepy, so I'm getting ready to roll out of here, family. Listen, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, if you got any questions, leave them in the comments below the video. If it's a little bit more personal and you don't want to share it with the world, but you want to ask me, send me a DM, and I'll be happy to help you if I can, or at least direct you to someone or to a tool or something where you can get help. So that's about it for me, family. Yeah, I'll end this one like I end them all. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is a verb. It is a noun as well. But when we focus on the verb, the noun always takes care of itself. And let me say this, because I was going to do this tonight and I decided to pull up. But I've got a banger coming for y'all tomorrow, okay? This is a download I got at 3 something this morning. It's about 3:30 this morning, but it is something that you don't want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed with your notification bell turned on. It has everything to do with upgrading your life, okay? If you consider yourself spiritually awakened, you are not going to want to miss this next video, okay? And I know some of y'all are watching this on demand, and this could be a month, 2 months, a year in the future. So I will make sure that I'll come back and put a link to the video I'm referencing in the description box for this one after it's published, okay? Y'all do not want to miss it. I'm probably going to premiere it tomorrow. It won't be a live. I like to every now and then take a break from doing the lives and just do a premiere and watch it with you guys. So that one will be a premiere, but it is all about upgrading your life. And it ain't for you if you don't consider yourself spiritually awakened. It ain't for you, okay? Let me say that. It's only for you if you consider yourself spiritually awakened. If you're not spiritually awakened, you'll be like, what is he talking about? Okay, all right? It's one of those red pill, blue pill moments, all right? And you probably gonna want the red pill. So y'all look forward to that one. I love you guys. Y'all have a great evening, and peace, family.